Hello and welcome back to the wonderful world of Skyrim. I've been hanging around in this little inn here, seeing what the villagers have to say, what are some of the local attractions, and instead of sightseeing and history of the local region, they've been telling me about a possible witch that's been hanging around in the outskirts of their town. So I've decided to inquire after it and go investigate and see if there's any reality to their claims, and compare it to our own history in the 1500s and 1600s and 1700s of historical witch hunts. Let's go. I'm outside the town right now. She's supposed to be out here by herself in the middle of nowhere. Historically, if you were out on your own, away from civilization, if you had a knowledge of plant life and herbal medicinal practices, some folk medicine, you were more susceptible to being accused of witchcraft. Especially if you were elderly or older, and if you were cranky or mean or generally an angry person. If you had any sort of antisocial behavior, you were more likely to be accused of witchcraft. Let's see if I can find this person. There it is. Now, play it cool. We don't know if she's a witch yet. She might just be a normal old woman just living out here by herself in a isolated, secluded cabin. Let's go talk to her.
I get so lonely out here.
She doesn't seem very hostile. She doesn't seem very mean right now.
It's tough just scraping by out here, but I make do.
Alright, we'll give you a fair trial. Alright. For this, I'll be using, like most witch hunters, I'll be using the Malleus Maleficarum, or the Witch's Hammer, as a guide to assess whether or not she's a witch. It was written in the late 1400s by Heinrich Kramer and James Springer. For around 3 centuries, it was the go-to guide or manual for witch hunters or inquisitors who were assessing people for witchcraft or heresy or blasphemy, all that sort of stuff. So, she's definitely got a garden. It's not much of alchemy garden. It looks more like just a vegetable garden. But having any sort of plant life knowledge,
it's so
especially
nice to
of
have a visitor.
Folklore, medicine, potions, balms, poultices.
It's so nice to have a visitor.
You seem pretty nice. But yeah, having any sort of plant life knowledge, plus living out on your own in the middle of nowhere, those are 2 checks against her. She would have been a suspicious figure, especially if she was an angry old person.
It's tough just scraping by out here, but I make do.
But right now she seems pretty amiable. She seems pretty nice. So that would be one deterring factor for being accused of witchcraft. So, if you don't mind, I'm going to look inside your home.
I get so lonely out here.
Okay, well, I'm going to look inside your home, so don't be afraid. Okay, this is a little more suspicious. She's got poisonous flowers and ingredients, feathers and berries and flowers, and some sort of large gemstone.
It's so nice to have a visitor.
Well, you should get some more visitors. You seem very, very happy that someone's here. So, these ingredients in here...
It's tough just scraping by out here, but I make do.
All of this repeated lines, like you've got a script for when people come here. That's getting more... It's getting more suspicious. But anyways, the ingredients in here are a lot more suspicious than these ingredients out here.
I get so lonely out here.
Sorry about the kettle. I didn't mean to knock it over. Alright, minion, I need to get inside. Okay, so... Oh! This... Whoa. Whoa. Minion! I need to confront her about this. Why do you have
Just scraping by.
why do you have such a elastic book? You do know you've got a book that defies laws of
I
gravity.
get so lonely out here.
I guess you don't care. This, I think, is a sure sign of something fishy going on. This might be witchcraft. This might... something's up. There's definitely something up here because of this book. So yeah.
It's so nice.
Living alone out here in this shack in the middle of nowhere. With a knowledge of plant life and medicinal stuff and all of that. You're not angry.
It's tough just
You're not a mean, cranky person.
But I make do.
But this book, if an inquisitor or witch hunter saw this book in your house, they would think you've been doing something wrong. So, this is definitely a cause for possibly thinking she's a witch. Plus, the book is the Song of the Alchemists, which, again, having a knowledge of plant life and folk medicine, that was something they would look for in their witch hunts. So far, my assessment is this location, her knowledge of plant life, her age, and just total seclusion from society out here, is that she would be susceptible to being accused of being a witch. And it's kind of hard to say right now if she would actually be found guilty of it. Usually, to be found guilty of a witchcraft accusation, the Inquisitor or the Hunters or the Tribunal questioning you would have to extract a confession, which was usually done by torture, I'm sorry to say. And once they got that confession, you were done for. But a lot of times they could get the confession because there's a point in the torture where it's just irreplaceable, irreparable. And, whoa, being able to summon a broom out of nowhere is also a suspicious act. But after a point of time, after you've been tortured and your arms no longer work and your joints no longer fit back into your sockets and all your bones are broken and your fingers have been cracked, and after all sorts of stuff like that has happened, a lot of times the accused witches would just confess just to get it over with, just to make the pain stop. So if she was hardy and resilient and could undergo torture without actually being broken, she would probably survive, at least from this point in time.
I get so lonely out here.
But this book would definitely improve her chances of being accused of being a witch.
What are you doing that for?
Oh. But there's a trapdoor. What do you have in your trapdoor? Do you mind if I go see the trapdoor?
It's so nice to have a visitor.
Well, Minion, let's go check this out, just in case. Just to clear her name, because I believe in you. I really do. I think you're just a nice woman who's misunderstood.
It's so nice to have a visitor.
But I can only clear your name if I check your basement. Well, Minion, I might have to reassess my views on this possible witch. Having this in your basement would definitely not be helping your chances of surviving a witch trial. Especially whatever this is, this demonic skull thing with a crystal orb with swirling something, and these runes and glowing symbols, and this this pentagram. This, I think, would be fairly hard to explain in a trial. and another alchemy station. Again, having knowledge of plant life and folk medicine and potions and poultices and all sorts of herbal things. If you were accused of witchcraft, that would be some hard evidence against you that they would use. And then well, and a human skull. Having a skull in your basement would also be a bit hard to explain. Multiple skulls. So all of this is very, very tough to explain. Maybe she's got a perfect explanation in this written letter. Do you think she can be exonerated, Minion? Do you think so? Yep. Huh? I guess not. Let's see. Does she explain all of her actions and belongings down here in this little piece of paper? Let's see. Helgi dear, why do you hesitate? You can feel the power coursing in your blood. You have only to reach out and grasp it. Renounce that boy of yours and come live with me in the forest. My sister will be here soon. Together we can form a proper coven, and your training will truly begin. I think her fate is sealed. Talking of covens and power coursing in your blood, in the context of this room, I don't think she's going to last. Plus she has paralysis poisons. Alright, Minion, let's go see what she has to say. And the book has just collapsed. And she seems not to have been too nice. So, Minion, I think that checks all the categories for not surviving a witchcraft trial. She turned out not to be too nice once I emerged from breaking and entering into her basement. But she lives out here alone in this isolated, secluded area with the knowledge of plants and herbs and folk medicine practices, and had suspicious stuff in her basement. I think it's safe to assume that she would definitely be accused of witchcraft and put on trial, and with all of this evidence they would have used against her, she likely would have been either tortured to death or tortured until she broke. It's hard to say. But, now that I am curious about magic here, I think I'll go track down this college I've heard is in the north that primarily teaches magic. So I'll be off there to learn about what they have to say. On my journey to the college, I stopped by this fortified town, though its walls and towers aren't really up to the medieval quality that actual towns, fortifications, and history would have wanted. Like these walls, they're a little bit in disrepair. These towers don't seem to have much actual shelter, and these walls don't seem to have any place to actually stand on, but it gets the job done, I suppose. It keeps people from the outside from getting in with too much problem. But anyways, this is for later episodes. It's not in the script. It's not... I'm not ready for it yet. So, I'll continue to the college. Well, I've arrived in the general location of the college. When they said it was in the north, up in the land of snow and ice. They were not kidding. By way of college town, college downtown, where students would likely go hang out and drink and relax, have some recreation. It's not the best. It's got some very dilapidated housing. It's not up to the modern college town standards.
Skyrim, not the Imperials or the
But-
Natives.
But we're here for the campus itself, which is over there. So, talking about the actual beauty of the campus itself, it's got that going for it. It's pretty impressive. It would likely, just because of this building, attract a lot of students. Let's go see what this college is all about.
But the college lives on.
Alright, when I tried to enter this college, this person behind me is giving me an entrance exam. I have to use some magic to heal her.
Well done indeed. I think you'll be a superb addition to the college. Welcome, apprentice. I'll lead you across the bridge. Once you're inside, you'll want to speak with Mirabelle Irvine, our master wizard. Please, follow me.
Alright, that was pretty simple.
Even with the college's laid-back attitude, there are still some things that are off-limits.
A lot of colleges are pretty laid back.
I can't wait to see who succeeds Mirabelle. I've no doubt she'll be promoted to Archmage at some point.
Get on with it. I've arrived at the front gate of the university. In our own history, universities were mainly for theological study. It was only around 1179, after the Third Lateran Council, when people not associated with the church were able to start getting teaching licenses. And so after that council, a lot of universities became less of a seminary for teaching future priests and became more of a guild for professors. Which, that's what this seems to be, since it seems less about religion and more about magic. But let's see what they have. Let's see what this university's all about. Well, this university's got dorms. They've got bedrooms for all their students, which seem to be absent right now. I guess they're in class. The college also seems to have some offices and spaces for the professors to do whatever they need to do.
Now, cast the ward spell
All right.
and keep it up.
I'm about to do another common thing that happens in colleges. Bad decisions.
Hold still. Excellent work. Well, I think this is an excellent start. I'd like you all to continue practicing with wards, please.
Thanks for firing.
I think perhaps
A shot
we're
at
ready
me.
to begin exploring some of the various applications of magic throughout history. The college has undertaken a fascinating excavation in the ruins of Sarthal nearby. It's an excellent learning opportunity. I suggest we meet there in a few hours and see what awaits us inside. That's all for now. Thank you.
And there are field trips. And I've been told that up here in this section is the last major piece of the college. A library, where they have a lot of books just thrown around out here in the open, and a lot more locked away in these heavily guarded bookcases. But it's nice to see they have a library. It's essential, where you can find all the best books, best translations. It's essential for a college. Well, now that I've gotten a tour of the college and seen the dormitory and the teacher's lounge and teacher's offices and the library, I think I'll just talk about magic in our history and how it was perceived and what people thought about it. For the most part, magic was seen as kind of an antithesis of miracles, where you had saints who could perform holy miracles through God granting them powers. So in the opposite way, witches were often seen as performing dark miracles, where saints got powers from God, the witches got their powers from the devil. So magic in history, it didn't come from the stars or from herbs or talismans or anything like that. It was usually just, it came from a pact with the devil or a demon, something like that. Though a lot of the witch hunters and people who theorized about magic, they thought that things like constellations, stars, poultices, herbs, things like that could be applied as a tool to amplify your powers, amplify your magic. That was magic that had originated with a demon or a devil. They thought that it could be amplified through means that would affect the body, weaken your defenses or weaken your mind, but that the magic didn't originate in those things. It actually originated with some demonic force. But witch hunters, like the writers of the Malleus Maleficarum, the Witch's Hammer, they did think that there was some credibility, some little thing to, like the stars. They said magic and powers didn't originate in the stars, but that if you had a weak constitution, if you had weak willpower, or you didn't have great faith, then a certain alignment of the stars might make you a bit more susceptible. But if you were faithful, or if you just had a strong willpower, then the stars couldn't be used against you. But they did claim, they're kind of wishy-washy. They said, they would claim stars didn't have any power to the witch, but if witches used their demonic given powers during a certain lunar event or celestial event, then it might make it a bit more potent, but still they emphasized non-stop that the power actually originated with the devil, and that, strangely, that the devil could only get this power if it was sanctioned by God, because they always wanted to make sure that God was described as stronger than the devil. So anytime a witch received power from the devil, the witch hunters would say that the person was being punished by God, and so God was allowing that witch to gain powers as a form of punishment, because she would be hunted down, she would be tried, possibly executed. So that's the gist of the historical view of magic. And speaking of that, there's an interesting similarity. Talking about the constellations, a lot of people in the Middle Ages believed that you could gain powers from the stars, but again, the witch hunters tried to refute it and said that power didn't come from the stars, but it was a tool. You could amplify your power through the stars. So looking at this skill chart, where as you fill out these dots, you get more and more powerful, it does have a bit of a similarity. You have your own innate power in this game, which you could say that you either got it from God or the devil, if you want to continue this analogy, continue this comparison. But as you fill out this chart, as you fill out this constellation, your power gets stronger and stronger. So there is an interesting similarity between that. As you make your character's stars align in a constellation, you get more powerful, which does equate, it has similarity to the medieval view that some people agreed with, a lot of people disagreed with, but there was definitely a view held by some people in the Middle Ages that you could gain power or amplify your power through the alignment of the stars or through constellations, or at least they thought you could gain some sort of insight prophecy knowledge from the stars, as in astrology, where you have horoscopes and mathematical deductions of the future, things like that, that have been debunked nowadays, but are still somewhat popular places here and there. And with that, after having found the witch and taken a tour of this college and discussed the historical view on witchcraft, I think that's about it for this episode. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode when we find more history in Skyrim.